Hey, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. It's been a great day here. I'm kind of on vacation. I'll talk a little bit more about that. I have a great topic to talk about today, Stand By Me. I want to talk about some life lessons from Stand By Me and some great quotes that I can relate to. One of the best things about the girls getting a little bit older is having some family movie nights and watching some of the old classics that I loved as a kid and seeing their responses to them. And Stand By Me just happened recently, and man, I could have choked up on the first scene. I could have choked up on the last scene. I mean, I really had to hold it together on the last scene. I had to look away, like think of baseball. I don't even know. Bite my tongue. It's just I could have been a wreck. What an emotional movie for me. It's the boys growing up. That was so totally my life. Just being outside, being free for a time. Um, and I think the movie certainly hits you different as you get older. Also, the music from that movie, I think Stand By Me made me love the classics, love the song, Lollipop, Lollipop. Whenever I hear that song, I just think of the guys on the train tracks and just having fun. So I kind of want to get into some of these life lessons and quotes. But before I do that, I'm on vacation. I'm going to have quite a few days off this January just from the restaurant being closed for these 4 days after New Year's Eve. I'm rotating off Tuesdays, the next two Tuesdays, so I will have Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday off. No, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off twice. I have 2 Saturdays off in January. One is for a Christmas gift that we got the girls to go see Harry Potter with like some live orchestra. And the other I wasn't going to take off, but one of my buddies who passed away, his fantasy football league is still in play, and they always have a year-end party, which I can never go to. And I was going to skip it again, but I talked to his dad, and he was like, you should probably go. And I'm like, yeah, I will go. So screw it. I'm going. So I got quite a bit of time off in January. I hope that I can pull it all together, but I'm sure somehow I will. Also thinking about some of the other things I got going on for the channel, I've figured out how to put a GoPro into my car. So now I can talk to the GoPro. I don't like talking to the phone in the car because on the stand that's there, it's like very shaky on the dashboard. So I'm hoping that I can talk to the GoPro and do some more shop alongs and ride alongs while I do that. What else? I'm really getting close to finishing up my album review of the Kinks, and you can kind of see it in that corner right there. One of the guys. I want to talk about the album, and I also kind of want to do like a reaction to the album. What else do I want to do? There's certain other topics that I want to discuss. I don't know if I should start a new channel if I do those album reviews. Like, is it going to be too much of a jarring thing for somebody talking about like Instacart and mental toughness, and hopefully getting into physical toughness and just being healthy all around and breaking free, and then dropping in an album review by the Kinks? Is that too weird? It could just be different segments of the channel, or should I start over? I don't know. What do you guys think? You're the ones that know me best, so I'd like to hear what you think on that topic. But getting into today's topic is Stand By Me, one of my all-time favorite movies. So these are some life lessons, then I'll get into some quotes. And I'll start that right now. So the first life lesson from Stand By Me is pursue your passions. Are you pursuing your passion? Gordy's passion was writing, and his friends supported that passion of his no matter what anybody else said. Pursue your passions. I think that's great for anybody in life. I think I'm pursuing mine. I think my passion is to serve in many different ways, I suppose, but I'm enjoying it. The next is being 12 was great. I met most of all my friends when I was 12. And like Vern said when they were sitting around talking about the Mickey Mouse Club, this is a really good time. I could catch myself. I can still kind of look back and see myself sitting around a table outside or having a sleepover or whatever it was else in your youth, and just being like, this is a really good time. And and maybe those times won't always last, but that snapshot, this is a really good time. And I've had a few of those, and I guess that's a good thing. The next is things aren't always as they seem. This can be taught by the legend of Chopper, the junkyard dog, who was taught to sick certain parts of the male anatomy. When they end up hanging out in the junkyard, they finally are leaving, and the junkyard man sees him, and he sicks Chopper on him. But it's like this cute dog who, has a little bark. And Gordy hops over the fence, and he's fine. And on the other side of the fence, the boys are safe, and things are not quite as they seem. So keep that in mind. It's not always going to be as big and scary. Everybody is weird. It's okay to be weird. I think Chris Chambers talks to Gordy, and he assures Gordy that he's weird, but he says that everybody's weird, and they can be weird together as friends. And we're all weird in our own certain ways. It's fine to be weird. It's great to be weird, especially if you can embrace it. The next is you're only young once. Enjoy it. I try to stay young at heart. Each of the boys, the 4 boys in that movie, Vern, Teddy, Chris, and Gordy, they all came from hard knock lives, from hard situations, but they were still able to enjoy their youth. And it was some of the best times of their life. Of course, I think we idealize the past. I can idealize the past of when I used to go out and party. And, you forget about the bad parts, like spending money, being away from your family, being hungover, being in dangerous situations. You can idealize the past when you were 12, but you forget about maybe the awkwardness at school or with girls or fights with your friends or backstabbing or drama or all this other stuff, right? Or teachers and homework and the pressures. But when you look back, it's just 4 dudes sitting around on the playground laughing your butts off. That's kind of what hopefully sticks with you. Enjoy your youth. I tell my girls, you're only going to be 9 once. You're only going to be 10 once. Enjoy it. And I think of myself when I was 9 and when I was 10. Another life lesson is support your friends. They supported Gordy's writing. Gordy supported Chris. He thought no one else believed in Chris, but he did. Chris thought no schools would accept him because of his background and his family's reputation. My friends supported me in sports. I loved playing basketball. I was walking out of the junior high one day as tryouts were starting, and my buddy grabbed me and goes, "Let's go, let's try out." And that was one of the best decisions I ever made. I had a lot more basketball playing because he roped me, and I would have passed on it. My friends supported me with my songwriting, even from the first earliest ones and until now, and even just kind of good at talking. Like, as I shut up, I was always kind of the guy who my friends would come to for advice and talk about certain life situations. And that always kind of boosted me, perhaps, to get into this position. Another thing, some friendships are for life. Even the ones that don't last, they still change you. They still make you who you are. Think about it. It's not a very long list. We can have 100, 200, 400, 800, 2,000 Facebook friends. I know some people that have. I had a ton of Facebook friends, and I kind of just deleted a lot of them. I should have probably just unfollowed them, but I went through a very minimalist phase on Facebook one time. But who are your true friends? The ones that you really talk to and see, and your family and all that, not just people who were in your high school or, acquaintances that you see, but your real life friends, like the ones that you had when you were a kid, who you beat Nintendo games with, and who you played Jailbreak with, and who you had your first sleepovers and phone calls with. And you might not be friends with those people, but they're still on that list, and not everyone has a super, super long list. I know mine is just about right. Those things still change me, both good and bad, those situations, but I look back on them with fondness. Another life lesson, you are not what others think of you. You are what you are. You are what you want to be. You're a superstar, right you are, in the words of John Lennon. Now, let's get to some quotes. Okay, so some of my favorite quotes here from the movie Stand By Me. I mean, I could have pulled out 10, 12 more, but for the sake of time and for whatever, but I love this. The first one is, we'd only been gone for 2 days, but somehow the town seemed different, smaller. That quote always stuck with me, especially as someone who's pretty much been a lifer here in town. I tried to get out a few times. I went to New York City in 2003. Went to Alexandria / Washington, D.C. around like 07, 08, but ended up coming back, and I'm happy here. I grew up on the same street for all intents and purposes since the third grade. But I can remember leaving, especially my honeymoon times in New York, Washington. You come back and boy, doesn't it seem a lot smaller, a lot different. I remember moving across town from second to third grade to here where I am now, and it seemed like across the world. You couldn't really keep in touch with those friends. That was losing touch with friends just because of distance and no cell phones at the time, right? And I think my parents kind of pushed me to meet friends on this side of town, and I did, but somehow the town can seem small. The next one is, although I hadn't seen him in more than 10 years, I know I'll miss him forever. Just wreck me right there. Crush me. I think that's in the first scene. I think it is. When older Gordy's in the car right at the beginning of the movie, and he's reading about Chris's death in the newspaper, and he looks up out his window, and he sees two kids who are probably about 12 riding their bikes, and he looks at them. I could just melt down right there. The next quote is, we knew exactly who we were and where we were going. It was grand. There was no self-doubt then. You still had big dreams. We knew who we were. I guess maybe in the crew, we knew who the leader was, who the funny one was, who the smart one was, who the quiet one was, who the fast one was, who the strong one was, the most daring one was. We knew where we were going. We were going to the top. We were going to do whatever we could do. This was our world. There was no world that really expanded beyond the boundaries of our neighborhood. We could be anything that we wanted to be. We had big dreams, professional sports dreams, whatever. Firemen, astronauts. There was no self-doubt. We're still very ambitious. We know who we were. We knew where we were going, and it was grand. And often when we set out, we knew just what we were going to do. I can still remember those times. That's a pretty deep one. He doesn't know you. He doesn't know you. That is what Chris said to Gordy, because Gordy's dad was very hard on him, and he didn't think he'd amount to anything, and he didn't think he was as good as Denny, who was his older brother who had passed, and that's why Gordy's parents just basically didn't pay attention to him. He doesn't know you. Your friends know the real you, and that kind of makes me a little sad, because eventually my girls, and some parents might know the real you, but with me even, there's love there, but they don't know the real me. I'm going to act different. We're going to act different around our moms and our dads. But when you're sitting around with 4 dudes, 4 guys, 4 girls, at the age of 12, at the age of 18, and even now, it's just different. They don't know you. Your friends know you, and they can support you. When somebody might say that you're not going to be good enough, or you won't amount to anything. And then the last one, the one that gets me every time, I never had friends later on in life like the ones I had when I was 12. Jesus, does anyone? It's hard to know that at the time. Like, do my kids right now, they're 10. They probably can't look around and be like, these are the closest friendships. These friendships are amazing. It's hard to see that at the time. I could see that growing older. I had never made too many adult friends. Of course, I made acquaintances, but I never really cared to either. I never had the true college experience. Most of my time in colleges was very much in and out of failures and commuting and a semester here in D.C. or a year in New York, and I never had the time to really bond with any classmates in that type of situation. I never had any friends like the ones I had when I was 12. I think I would agree with that. Some have moved across country, some have moved far away, some are across town. And I talk and see to them all about the same. It's just different. But it was a hell of a time at 12. I hope you enjoyed this chat. Let me know how you're doing, how you can relate to any of these quotes. I'll talk to you on the next video. Break free.